With Cameron Diaz's triumphant return and Jamie Foxx's signature charm, Back in Action blends laugh-out-loud moments with high-stakes action that only they can. Back in Action was definitely not what I was expecting. This was actually a movie that I was really looking forward to on Netflix. The draw into this movie is definitely the fact that you've got Cameron Diaz and Jamie Foxx both starring in it, plus the fact it's an intriguing team-up. And then you've got the comedy, so you could have a lot of faith that this was going to be a good movie from the outside looking in. So my friends, now that we've got Back in Action available in our Netflix catalogue of content, do we have a blockbuster, a 50-50, or a flopbuster on our hands? Back in Action is a fast-paced action comedy on Netflix, reuniting Cameron Diaz and Jamie Foxx in a story full of explosive stunts and sharp humour. The film follows two estranged partners who are forced to team up for one last high-stakes mission, plunging them into a whirlwind of chaos, crime and redemption. The duo's mission takes a dangerous turn when old rivalries resurface, trust is tested, and every step forward seems to lead to a bigger mess. With relentless enemies on their tail and their own personal baggage getting in the way, they must find a way to survive and maybe even make peace with their complicated past. As the dust settles, the unlikely pair find clever ways to outwit their enemies, relying on their unique bond and a whole lot of improvisation. The resolution delivers a mix of thrilling action, laugh-out-loud moments, and heartfelt reconciliation, wrapping up the story in a way that feels both satisfying and nostalgic for fans of the stars. We're getting roughly an hour and 50 minutes in length with this movie, so it doesn't feel like you're having to use a lot of brain power if you're looking for something on the easier side to consume. Especially as seeing when you move through the movie, there aren't any aggressive aspects to it. When it comes to the plot and storyline of the movie, yes, it had its unique aspects, but it did come across as feeling similar to the competition in its genre, and unfortunately feeling very predictable. When you initially set off in the movie, you're set back 15 years ago in the past. You find Emily and Matt, played by Cameron Diaz and Jamie Foxx, to portray their character relationship dynamic to be a strong one in terms of their working relationship within the agency. And shortly after, we then understand that they have a very intimate relationship. What's interesting is that they don't just have chemistry from the relationship that they've formed, but actually through something a little bit deeper, which is that they have shared experiences, which then makes the unfolding drama feel more personal. The mission that they're on is a high-stakes snatch and grab to retrieve a very powerful device. Unfortunately, things take a turn for the worst, and the mission actually doesn't go according to plan. This then leads to a noble sacrifice by Emily and Matt, who have decided to put family before anything else. And this is actually something that's hinted at as we get some development from both characters as they build out their depth based on their backstories, which is all centered around things that they've missed out from with their families. I came away from the movie feeling a bit disappointed. I felt like I'd put on a movie for the sake of putting on a movie without being fully invested. And I really didn't think that it actually aligned with expectations that was all built up pre-movie. The plot hits all the expected beats, setting up key moments that drive events forward, but unfortunately, it just came across as being very predictable. You can almost guess what's going to happen next. What would have been a nice touch is if the movie surprised us a bit, maybe with a bit of a plot twist, or gave a little bit more background and explored the characters in greater depth. For me, it felt like we'd turned a corner with Netflix. They kicked off the year potentially looking to try something different. With content like Black Doves, it's a real show of class, which did give some strong implications that things might be a little bit different this year. But now they've brought out Back in Action, and the inconsistencies are starting to creep in. When it comes to the critiques of the movie, it felt a little bit cringy between Emily and her mother Ginny, and their relationship dynamic, again, predictable. Ginny and Emily's relationship is built on predictable beats, and their story feels weighted down by moments that lack emotional depth. From the outset, their dynamic is clear, tension masking vulnerability, but instead of allowing their bond to grow naturally, the film leans on overly familiar tropes. One key moment where Ginny opens up to Emily during an argument is framed as a pivotal breakthrough, but rather than feeling earned, it comes across as contrived, more a narrative necessity than an authentic connection. The film seems to rely on the idea of their relationship rather than giving us the depth to truly care about it. I found this to be a bit disappointing. I just felt like I'd already known and had some sort of idea as to where their relationship was going to go within this story. And the same could also be said with other aspects of the movie. And specifically in this scenario with Emily and her mother Ginny, it just came across as being a little bit cliche. Unfortunately, what was positioned in the build-up to the release of this movie regarding the promotion didn't feel like what was delivered. Now, when it comes to the character portrayals and their development, I thought the delivery was good, but I thought the script was where things start to fall down. And this has a direct impact on the enjoyment of the characters. Nigel is my favourite character from the movie. He really brings a different style of comedic portrayal, which was a standout to notice. Nigel's character is the heart of the film's humour, and his comedic energy feels like a breath of fresh air amongst the chaos. From the moment he enters the story, there's an undeniable charm to his antics. Whether it's a knack for delivering hilariously ill-timed one-liners or his exaggerated reactions to his increasingly absurd situations, Nigel brings a unique flair that elevates every scene he's in. One standout moment involves him attempting to bluff his way through a high-stakes negotiation, a situation he clearly has no control over. His overconfidence, paired with his complete lack of skill, creates a moment so ridiculous that it leaves you laughing even after the scene ends. I really enjoyed Nigel's character. He brought a different style of comedy to the movie, and this was really evident to notice. His presence also lightens the tone, but also brings a sense of unpredictability to the film. He's the kind of character that leaves you grinning, and his comedic timing adds a layer of fun to the movie as it evolves with his inclusion. Emily and Matt are the characters that are my runners-up. Both of the character portrayals here felt like they were very similar, but they had different challenges with their kids, which brought the differentiation in with their complexities. Emily and Matt bring an interesting dynamic to Back in Action, though their characters feel familiar. Emily, played by Cameron Diaz, is a determined mother trying to protect her child in chaos, while Matt, played by Jamie Foxx, offers a more relaxed, yet equally protective father figure. Both characters face the challenges of parenting in high-stakes situations. A standout scene shows Emily trying to maintain control during a tense negotiation as her child unwittingly disrupts it, while Matt bonds with his child in a dangerous moment, revealing a softer side. Their arcs are engaging but feel restrained, lacking the innovation seen in similar roles. I enjoyed seeing Cameron Diaz back in action and playing a role that seemed familiar. I think she gave a good portrayal with Emily, and likewise I think that Jamie Foxx had a good character and portrayed Matt really well. The problem here is that I think that the character portrayals felt similar to the competition with movies and characters as opposed to bringing something fresh and new to the table. On the other hand, what sets them apart are the struggles that they face as parents. If we take Emily, for example, her struggle is all centered around the relationship between her and her daughter. She's so scared of not repeating the past and ultimately replicating the relationship that Emily has with her own mother and how they're so far apart. And then there's Matt, who doesn't showcase much of a personal connection in comparison, but this does end up changing towards the end, and specifically with his son, who he ends up bonding over danger. Together, Emily and Matt do bring a sense of intrigue to the movie. But when you look at the actors that are playing those roles, it almost feels like they're both playing and portraying those roles with the handbrake on. It feels like they can give an awful lot more, but the script doesn't enable them and set them up to do so. Either way, I do think that they were worthy runners-up, but I do think they could have been better. The character I wanted to see more from was Ginny. I thought Ginny was an interesting character when she was introduced, but she wasn't explored enough, and I actually felt drawn to her personality from her character portrayal. From the moment Ginny is introduced, There's an undeniable gravity to her presence. She brings a much-needed seriousness to the otherwise light-hearted tone of the film. Yet her backstory and relationship with Emily are barely explored. In the few scenes she's in, Ginny seems to be hinting at a deeper, more complex character, one that has a history with Emily that could have provided the emotional anchor to the narrative. Yet these moments feel fleeting, and we never get a chance to fully delve into her character. It's as if the film acknowledges her significance without truly allowing her to shine. I really wanted to be able to explore Ginny's character in further depth. Her potential to add a layer of depth and intrigue to the plot is clear, but the film never gave her the space to fully develop. Her underexplored presence left me wondering what could have been, because she definitely could have added so much more emotional complexity to the film. When it comes to the visual and cinematography, I didn't think there was anything groundbreaking that they included, but there were some elements that I appreciated. With the visuals, the multiple costumes that we get to witness, with the scene shift changes dependent on the scenario that we find ourselves in. With the cinematography, the landscape shots of America, where we get to witness a typical family in the American suburbs, and London City. Plus we get a load of zoomed out camera shots from bird's eye view. The visuals in Back in Action are a reflection of the story's shifting tones. Emily's polished yet practical wardrobe contrasts with Matt's laid back style, offering subtle insights into their personalities. A standout moment is their high stakes chase through London, where their costumes mirror their dynamic under pressure. The cinematography further enhances this contrast, moving from suburban landscapes to sweeping aerial shots of London's streets. The camera transitions from immediate close-ups to wide dramatic views, capturing both the personal stakes and the larger chaos they face. I found the visual and cinematography to play a good role in its attempts to elevate the story, both helping to create a compelling environment for Emily and Matt's journey. While the story itself treads on familiar ground, these details bring deep texture, helping you to immerse yourself in the world of Back in Action. When it comes to the entertainment value, I feel that it's a welcomed movie for what it is, which is a movie that's easy to watch and digest, but I just can't help feel that there's better out there. I found that the movie tried to compete in many different genres, but it didn't ever feel like it exceeded itself in any of them. Comedy, drama and action were the main ones to highlight, and there's definitely a sense of appreciation with this and for what they were trying to do, but you don't feel blown away. And the movies that it does compete with and that also do this go a lot further than they have. The movie also feels really predictable throughout. You have a strong sense of where the movie's going to go and how it's all going to play out before it's actually played out. I came away from the movie feeling that I hadn't really been blown away, but not feeling like I'd had a terrible time. And ultimately I came away feeling disappointed. They had two incredible stars that they'd teamed up for this movie and set great intrigue with the build-up to its release, but what was delivered in the end didn't feel like it aligned with expectations. If you're looking for a movie that's really easy to watch, and you feel like you've exhausted all of those movies that would be your go-to from a comfort perspective, like Keeping Up with the Joneses, Me Time, and The Man from Toronto, or any similar movies that fit that profile, then you might want to give this one a go, but only if you want to add a new comfort movie to your catalogue of content. If that's the case, then Back in Action could be a good fit, but be advised, I would only watch it if you're in the mood for something new, comforting, and easy, and not expecting to be blown away. I give Back in Action a 2.5 out of 5 buckets, meaning it's a binge watching 50-50, but on the lower end. So here's the binge watching question. If you found out that your parents worked for a secret government organisation, what would you do? Let me know down in the comments below. As always, don't forget to smash a like if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and follow us on social media to stay up to date with the latest content. If you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more. I'm Matthew, this is Binge Watcher. Thanks for binging with me.